Hi, I'm back again, and a little bright in here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade up. I'm back, and I've got something that's a little exciting for me to be able to show to you today. I think it's recording. Okay, I see the red dot going. Okay, I did a little bit of research and experimentation on these radios, and these are going to take you well beyond the capability of any $15 radio you're going to find out there on the market today. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can take your radio straight out of the box, and after I get the right programming in it, show you how to make a repeater system using two of them. I just put the other antennas on here so that I could tell the difference between the two of what I was doing while I was doing the experimenting. Anyway, what is a repeater? Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of what a repeater might look like. It's like if you're going to watching a baseball game, okay, and you don't happen to be Willie Mays that can take a fly ball from center field all the way back to the fence and throw it into home plate. A repeater is you get that ball hit out there to center field, you're out there at 460 yards or feet or whatever they do out there. I hadn't watched baseball for a while. But you get that ball, and that arm just is not going to get you into home plate. So what do? You throw it to the guy at second. That's your process. You take that baby, you whip that into to second plate, and the second baseman, okay, I'm doing it again. Second baseman is going to fire that into home. So the second baseman, is basically a repeater. You're taking the ball, throwing it into one spot. That's the radio on one side. Shooting it into the center. Here's your second baseman right here. And then it's going to shoot it across to the other radio over here. Now, how does that, another example on how this can work, on how it will work. You're on a hill. Your two radios are in the valleys. You can take these radios, put them on the top of that hill. It's best to use something like put it in a vehicle and use external antennas on it, and it'll go up and it will double your transmitting capability, your distance. You shoot it up to the center, it takes it and it shoots it back down to the other side to the radio in the other valley. You can't transmit through a mountain. This is line of sight communications. If these two radios can see each other or you can see the other person, you should be able to talk to them. 20 miles, these radios will go. I mean, at 5 watts, I've got them set right now at low power, so it's set at 1 watt, and I can still get to Orem on 1 watt. So that kind of gives you an idea of the power of this radio. And these are the only $15 radios that are going to be able to get you to do that. You get Motorola, you get Midland, you go out there and get Cobra, you get anything else. If you can't program two frequencies into your radio, I meant program it, you're not going to be able to make a repeater. What do you need to make a repeater? Two standard radios programmed correctly. One radio will be your receiving radio, the other one will be your transmitting radio. Oops, went to the wrong side here. And what you will need is a cable that goes between the radios. One will go to the small socket, which is a 2.5 millimeter, and the other one will be a 3.5 millimeter. You could get these at Radio Shack if you want to pay $10 for them, or you can get them off of Amazon for about $3 or $4, something like that. If I get enough people that are really interested in doing this, or they have the interest, I'll whip out the old book and write a check, and I'll order a bunch of these up for you. What else do you need to do? Program these radios. I can do this for you. It only takes a few seconds. I could program the radio, get the cable. On your receiving radio, you don't have to do anything. Just have the volume up high enough to where when it hits the other radio, it will key the Vox. And the thing about this radio, your transmitter, you hit that. Remember I showed you in the last video, hold these two keys down and put it on in channel 1 to 5, and then turn it on and it puts it in the Vox. So what that does, when it receives in this radio, the speaker goes directly in here and it transmits automatically by using your the Vox option. Okay, I guess about this time I'm going to show you it really works. Okay, you'll see the light come on, which will be a green light in this one, which is your receiver, and you'll see a red light. Well, coming through this video, it's a telephone, so I don't know if you'll be able to make out the colors, but this light will come on when you're transmitting. One thing you have to do though is when you're transmitting, whenever you're using Vox, you've got to make like an initial sound or noise to get it keyed up. Don't start talking right away. Just go a, o, make any kind of noise you want until you hear that squelch break, or you know that you're transmitting. It only takes about a second. You just hold it on there. I'm going to turn the radios on now, and we're going to see how they work.
15. Power on. 15.
You won't hear this one because I've got the, oh, it's coming through here because it's already transmitting through the Vox.
Power on. 15.
Okay, what I'm going to be doing is, if I took these two radios out right now and try to talk with each other, they won't talk to each other because it's got a transmit and a receive frequency. But if I hit this receiver and hit this transmitter, it'll send it out on the second frequency. These are set up a little bit differently. Your repeater radios have to be one way. So when I want to talk to this radio, you'll see these lights light up. Test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. I think you can hear that coming through now. They're not coming through these radios. I mean, they're not, you can't hear through a speaker here. And if I want to go the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, test. Okay, I'm testing through the other radio. Now you're using your repeaters. It's really simple if it's programmed right. If it's not programmed right, and what, by the way, I have subaudible tones set into these so that other people can't transmit into here and transmit on your frequency. So they can have subaudible tones and it'll transmit and you won't hear them. They will hear you, but you won't hear them if they're trying to get into your frequency. Okay, how to enhance the capability of the radios to transmit. Okay, if you've got these, take your either mag mount, hook it up to here, put it on top of the car, put your radios inside the car. Or put your radios somewhere where they're not going to get wet. Radios and electronics do not like water. Okay, what you can do is use a plastic bag, stick it in the plastic bag. If it's outside, hanging in a tree or something, hang one of these. Remember we talked about this in the last video. Your J-pole. Tie off the J-pole, string it up over the tree, have the cable down like this, put your adapter on your radio, put your radios inside here, inside the plastic, and you're pretty much waterproof unless you're underwater. It'll protect it from the rain. Okay, for receiving, there was a question that was brought up, and this is general. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm giving you the enhanced version of what these radios can do. You're not going to find, like I said, you're not going to get yourself, you can go to Cabela's and pick up radios that'll do this. These radios will. I figured it out. I went through a little experimentation. I'm known to do that sometimes. Okay. One thing I talked about, and I think it was Jeremy I talked with yesterday, said that he was over the water and he was in a boat and his friends were in another boat. He could actually see his friends on the boat. It doesn't transfer or transmit as far over water. Okay? Light rays, sunlight is just like any other type of electromagnetic frequency. Light has its own frequency. What happens is the light, depending on how dark or how light it is during the day, if the sun's out or whatever, the light will come down, it will hit the water, and it will basically make a shield between you, and it will kind of work as a filter, and it won't let your frequencies go through as far. If you're over land and you're not going on over any water source, you'll get your 20 miles. If you're over water, and depending upon what kind of a day it is, you may not get a mile, okay, out of the same kind of radios. And having these is not really, having a repeater in the middle of water to throw it out there is probably not a good idea, because you'd have to have another boat just to have your repeaters on it. Anyway, to give you an example of how that works is I was with a phone company back in the 70s, and we had a microwave system between San Francisco and Oakland. Every day went down about 410. And this was during the summer, and it only went on for about a week. The technicians could not figure out what it was. I had experience with this because I had a little bit of training in Fort Benning, and I had a challenge that I couldn't knock one down. Okay, I learned from that. And by the way, was able to take their system off by using a Mylar kite, and it knocked their system right down, and they found out they were not as secure as they thought. But going over water, microwaves were headed toward Oakland and back to San Francisco. You only have to take down one side for the whole system to go down. The sun was hitting the water just exactly right. I was standing on one building and a guy was on the other building in Oakland. We could barely make each other out. I mean, that's not a real close proximity. We had our binoculars and everything looking at each other. That sun came up and it about blinded the guy on the other side. And I could see the reflection on him, and I could also see that light reflection from the sun hitting the other antenna. Solved the problem. I didn't solve it. I just found the problem. Actually, I left it to the technicians because I was not a technician. I was just basically an operator. And they found out what was wrong. It hit it. That light was getting on there, and it did exactly like I was explaining over water. There are different things, atmospheric conditions, sunspots, and things that can stop your radios from working. That's enough theory. That's enough stuff for that. What I wanted to talk today about was getting these repeaters up. You have the capability of doing it and extending your range by 2. If you could talk 20 miles, you can now talk 40 miles. And if your antennas are better, you can talk even further. But anyway, that's it for today. I don't think there's anything else. I think I covered about all of it. I tried to get it done fast because I didn't want a long video. People fall asleep, like me. And that sounds like about I got it about covered. So have yourself a good day. Get yourself some of these radios. They're only $15. Good grief. Even I can afford that on a fixed income.